Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video. Now this video is going to be really informative, so I hope you enjoy it. I know that I just needed to get loads of stuff off my chest, and also something that has blown my mind a bit when I found out this information. I feel like it has really helped me, so I wanted to talk about it today because I know that it is going to help a lot of you too. So if you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you drop me a comment below. There are going to be loads and loads of topics that I'm going to be talking to you about in this video, so make sure you let me know what you think, and also give me that thumbs up if you enjoy what I'm saying. So first things first, we are going to be talking about being a female and the menstrual cycle. I have suffered with my periods off and on throughout my life. When I was competing, I didn't have periods for 2 years, but now they are definitely back and have been back for a long time now. And I have, up until recently, I would say I came off the pill about 4 months ago. I was on a birth control pill. So the reason why I went on the pill originally is because I wasn't having periods, but I kind of made the decision through not actually having really concrete information about what they're doing in the long term to your body. I personally just felt like it was time for me to give it a break after being on the pill for quite a long time. So I came off the pill, but my judgment on the pill does not definitely have an impact on what you should think. It is literally just my point of view, so that isn't any kind of advice for that. I didn't want to talk about that today. What I wanted to talk about is my hormones being back, so my natural hormones, and feeling like in my cycle was very different. Now I just want to take you back to a week and a half ago. So it was about last Thursday. I just felt physical signs of hunger. So I was really fatigued. I kind of put it down to hay fever, or just like I'd maybe been overtraining, even though my training hadn't changed. I kind of made a lot of excuses, but in actual fact, when I thought about it, I felt hunger, and I don't really feel hungry. My calories are high enough, even though I'm in a slight calorie deficit and I'm on a fat loss phase at the moment, but there was no reason for it to change. So I was kind of a little bit in a frump with myself. I was overeating a little bit because I was genuinely hungry and I felt like I needed the food for energy. So when I checked in with my coach Harry on Sunday, he sent me a voice note back and he was like, what stage of your cycle, what stage of the month are you at? Because that really has an effect. It can have an effect on the way that you perform in the gym and the way that you are feeling. So I thought about it and I was like, I'm about 3.5 weeks into my month after my last period. And actually when we talked about it and I did some research on it, some really almost like groundbreaking information that has been out there, but there has been so many more studies on it recently, that in the first 2 weeks after our period, our estrogen levels are high, and then they get lower and progesterone takes over in week 3 and week 4. Now that hormone sometimes can be a bit of a baddie for us because it increases our metabolic rate, but obviously that in turn makes us feel hungrier. It can make us feel really quite fatigued. Our strength levels can go drastically down in the gym. But I think knowing this information now, and like what Harry said, now that we know it, we can actually increase your calories a little bit in the last 2 weeks of your period. Even though maybe your fat loss levels will stall a bit, they will not. You'll kind of just go to maintenance calories for a little bit. But I would rather, and this is what he said, I would rather you feel good, feel strong, and not feel tired. Because if you are tired also our NEAT levels get lower. So that is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So it is when I'm fidgeting, or it's when I'm moving my hands, which I tend to do a lot because you tell me, and it's like taking the stairs rather than taking the lift. It's like sitting for periods of time. It's just feeling like, oh, we're not moving. And actually that activity makes up a lot of our calorie expenditure every single day. So obviously that gets lower if we get more tired, so that's why also like sleep is important and all the things like that I'm not going to go into. But basically he said, well, we'll actually up your calories maybe in the last 2 weeks, so you don't feel really hungry, you don't maybe overindulge because your body's telling you that you're hungry, which can happen a lot if your calories are too low. So that really blew my mind. Now I feel like I know that information. I know why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. It just makes so much more sense, and it makes me feel just better, I suppose. With that in mind, I'm going to talk about my second thing, which is intermittent fasting. So this kind of ties into the way that I've been feeling and the way that I'm going to control my hunger levels and just feeling alert throughout the day. Now, I know that there has been so much on intermittent fasting recently. It's one of these trends, but actually it is not a diet. So if someone says it's a diet, it's not a diet. It's just an eating pattern. And it is also some of the misconceptions. It's that it's actually like lowering your calories for the whole day because you are technically skipping out a meal. Now, I really don't view it that way, and it shouldn't be that way if it is done properly. It is literally just eating the same foods but in a shorter window of time. Now, the reason being is because when you eat, your insulin levels get higher, so they increase. So when you don't eat for a longer period of time, your insulin levels are lower, and so that is when fat loss occurs more. So when your insulin levels are higher, if you are eating all the way throughout the day, technically fat loss could be slower. So a lot of people, when they practice intermittent fasting, so I tend to eat between the window of like 12 and 7 the majority of the time, that technically your fat loss is greater because you are fasting for a longer period of time. Now, first of all, a little bit of a disclaimer, because you do not need, like any diet, you do not need to do this to see results. So if you are one of these people that really love eating breakfast, like when you get up, you like to have a coffee and you like to have oats, or you like to have some eggs and avocado, you do that because that is a part of your routine, that is a part of your day. The main thing that you need to focus on is being in a calorie deficit throughout the whole day for fat loss. There is no need to do it like this. The reason I'm doing it, the main reason I'm doing it, is because I am getting slightly hungrier and I am on a fat loss phase at the moment. So in order to combat that, I eat later on in the day because that's when I am the most hungry. And also I find that I can train better technically fasted, although we'll go into that in a minute, and that actually a coffee and water in the morning is sufficient. Now, a lot of people would say, Sophie, you're having oat milk in your coffee, so you are technically not fasted. And to be honest, maybe not. But that is a very, very minimal thing. And I think sometimes, and a little bit of a bugbear of mine at the moment, is people get really caught up on the little things and think that little tiny thing there is the reason why I am not losing weight. And that is really incorrect, because actually we should be focusing on the stuff that actually matters, and that little tiny thing, the small percentage, is not going to matter for the majority of people who want to lose weight. You just need to be in a calorie deficit. So actually, the main reasons why I am practicing intermittent fasting at the moment is because I like to eat the majority of my calories later on in the day, so it works for me. And actually having coffee and water in the morning and starting to eat a little bit later on the majority of the time works for me, because I find that I'm actually more productive and more alert. So that is the reason for my intermittent fasting and why I'm practicing at the moment. But also another disclaimer is that if someone invites me out for brunch at 9:30 on a Sunday morning, I'm not going to be like, oh, but my calorie window and my kind of fasting window needs to be broken at 11:30, so I can't go until then. Because that is not also living your life. So you just have to think about what fits in with your lifestyle. The majority of the time I do it, but sometimes I do not. But that is just what's working for me at this moment in time. So in this Sunday's video, I just wanted to put that information out there. I know it was quite a lot of talking and quite a lot of information, and also I wanted to say that there is so much on the internet and there are so many people giving out such valuable information. You obviously have to sift through it yourself and also just figure out, just making educated, informed decisions about what actually you notice and what works for you. And you just need to do your research like anything. So I really hope you've liked this video, and let me know if you want me in the next video, on Wednesday's video, to do a full day of intermittent fasting eating, so you kind of know how I set out my meals and plan my day and what I eat. So I really hope you've liked this video, guys. Give it a thumbs up if you have liked it, and drop me a comment if you have anything to say or any questions about what I've talked about, and I will try my best to answer. So until Wednesday's video, I will see you next time.